The sound of the Harley-Davidson echoed through the cul-de-sac like thunder on a summer afternoon. Neighbors peeked through blinds as the bike rolled to a stop in front of a modest brick home. Its chrome gleamed beneath the sun, polished to perfection. The man who swung his leg off the bike, Marcus, wore a calm smile that hid years of discipline and pride. That Harley wasn't just a machine. It was his father's last gift before passing a legacy on 2 wheels. And then she appeared. Nancy Whitmore, president of the HOA and self-proclaimed guardian of neighborhood standards, her lips pursed, eyes narrowing like daggers. "That motorcycle," she said, pointing, "isn't appropriate for this community." Marcus turned slowly. "Excuse me?" Nancy crossed her arms. "My son's been wanting a Harley. Should sell it to him, or better yet, donate it. After all, we're all about keeping harmony here." He laughed once, quietly. "Not for sale, ma'am." Her voice dropped, sharp as glass. "Then maybe you shouldn't be living here at all. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who is listening." Marcus had lived in the neighborhood for just 3 months. He'd worked his way up from nothing, serving 8 years in the Army, saving every cent from his mechanic shop. And finally, buying this little home with the dream of peace and quiet, a peace, it seemed, wasn't something Nancy could allow. Within a week, he started getting letters. Noise complaint. Unauthorized vehicle on driveway. Violation. Non-conforming decor. Each. One stamped with the HOA Sealand Nancy's signature. The neighborhood began to whisper. Some admired Marcus's calm restraint. Others avoided eye contact, afraid to cross the HOA queen. But Nancy's power wasn't as strong as she thought. Beneath her rule, resentment simmered. One morning, Marcus found a scratch down the side of his Harley, deep, deliberate. His stomach twisted. He looked up and saw Nancy's teenage son, Kyle, smirking from across the street. Marcus took a slow breath. He'd seen worse. He walked over, steady and polite. "Did you see who did this?" Kyle shrugged, pretending innocence. "Cool bike. Bet it's expensive. You should let me ride it sometime." Marcus looked him dead in the eye. "It's not in this lifetime." When Nancy heard about the exchange, she stormed out of her house, finger raised. "You threatened my son." "I didn't threaten anyone," Marcus said evenly. "Just told the truth." Her voice shook with rage. "You'll regret this. I promise you." Days later, Marcus came home to find his Harley gone. The driveway was empty. The chain he'd locked it with had been cut clean through. Panic flashed, then disbelief. He called the police immediately. Hours passed. When the tow yard called that evening, his heart sank further. His Harley had been found abandoned, wrecked beyond repair. A witness saw a blonde teenager speeding through the parkway before losing control. The description matched one person, Kyle. Marcus closed his eyes, grief flooding in, his father's bike gone. The next morning, Nancy appeared at his door, pretending sympathy. "Boys will be boys," she said with a false smile. "And you can't prove it was him. Maybe if you'd just agreed to let him ride." The door slammed before she could finish. He wanted to shout, to rage, but he didn't. Instead, he picked up his phone and called a friend from his army, a lawyer, named Jordan Tate. Jordan listened carefully. "You have the security footage?" Marcus nodded. Front camera caught everything. Jordan's voice hardened. "Then let us make sure she loses everything she has tried to take from you." Within a week, the footage was handed to the police and then the HOA board. It showed Kyle sneaking into Marcus's driveway at midnight, bolt cutters in hand. Also showed Nancy standing watch from her porch, whispering, "Go, baby, go." When the board convened, the community came alive. Neighbors packed the meeting room, murmuring, angry, curious. Nancy sat in the front row, arms folded, pretending confidence. Then Jordan pressed play. The room fell silent as the screen showed the truth. Gasps rippled through the crowd. When it ended, all eyes turned to Nancy. Her face drained of color. "Mrs. Whitmore," the chairman said quietly, "you are hereby removed from your position as HOA president effective immediately. You'll also be liable for damages." Days later, a moving truck idled in front of Nancy's home. The once feared HOA leader was leaving her property under foreclosure after paying the settlement. Her son avoided everyone's eyes, guilt etched across his young face. Marcus stood across the street, arms crossed, not gloating, just sad, because deep down, He knew hate always costs more than it earns. As the truck drove away, Mrs. Harris, an elderly neighbor, approached him. "We should have stood up for you sooner," she said softly. He smiled gently. "Sometimes justice just takes the long road, ma'am." Behind them, the setting sun glinted off a new Harley's, sleek and black, a gift from the community. A note taped to the seat read, "For the man who reminded us what dignity looks like." Marcus ran his hand over the chrome, eyes glistening. For the first time in months, he felt the peace he'd dreamed of. Because respect isn't given to those who demand it, it's earned by those who rise above hate. And as the wind carried the soft rumble of his new Harley into the distance, one truth lingered like a promise. When people try to take what's yours, grace and truth will always take it back. If this story made your heart race or your soul smile, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Would you have handled it like Marcus did or differently? And don't forget to subscribe to Cinematic Whispers, where every story reminds us that strength doesn't shout. It stands tall.